EOU tomorrow night. What can you tell us about them?
Well, the opponent with us, like I told our guys before with the Texas A&M, it was really about us solving some of our issues and getting better at the things that we need to get better at, and that's what this game is too. Another opportunity for us to go out against an opponent that's, I think, won 4 games in a row, and they've been playing a lot better as the season goes on. So it's about us. We got some, I don't want to call them issues, but things we're not great at yet, or not up to our standard. Yeah, we're good at them, but like we talked about, the 2 most damaging words in the English language is good job, and we're doing a few things at the good job level where for us to go where we want to go, we got to get great, and that's why these games are important. They give us a chance to go out and hopefully get better at things we desperately need to get better at.
And whether it's Saturday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Friday, I mean, you'll have some turnarounds like this in conference play where you don't get back till Sunday afternoon, wherever you guys got back. You turn around and get basically one day to prep. Is it a good opportunity for guys to kind of speed it up? They'll know they'll have to do it again in conference?
No doubt, because you're dealing with travel, you're dealing with game fatigue, you're dealing with fatigue from being out on the road. It takes a lot out of you, kind of, and the energies that the games take to get the job done, it's a lot. So it does. It's great training for that, and that's why you play the preseason, for these opportunities to see if, okay, we did some things at a high level against A&M, no doubt. Now can we build on that? No, we don't need to take steps backwards. We need to keep taking steps forward, and so that's the challenge right now.
Where do you think you guys have come the farthest in your 5-game winning streak?
Well, the thing that jumps out at me the most is the way we moved the ball and got each other shots and made each other better. 19 of our 22 shots were assisted baskets, and that's a big jump for us. You don't get an assist if you don't make the shot. So we were making some shots, absolutely, but we were, it's funny. It's a chicken and the egg thing. We're making the shots because we were getting each other great shots, not just and then we got some guys that can step up and make some tough ones. That's what you got to do, but you got to have something that's repeatable that you can do over and over, and then when you're playing great teams, you got to go make some plays, which our guys did. So they did both, and credit to our guys, though. I think Max hit on it, and we were banged up. I was worried. We had 2 sprained ankles the day before the game in practice, and then Max was deathly ill for a couple days before we went down there. So for those guys to step up, and you got some tough guys, and I had 3 guys that I was like, oh my goodness, are they going to play? And 3 of our guys that are getting heavy minutes. So that, like I said, that stuff doesn't get noticed and doesn't get rewarded, or really, but that's what it takes to win a game like that, is a lot of toughness by our team. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of them about is, they could have went down there and we had a lot of excuses, and we didn't use any of them. We didn't need any of them. They just went and made them not excuses.
How have you seen Max's game evolve from being a sharpshooter out there to getting those little floaters in the key?
Yeah, he's worked on it. Credit to our staff; they've done a great job with him on that stuff, and he's got a ball that goes in, and so it's just it's a matter of him just getting more comfortable in the pace of what we do, and so it's not only that, but it's the way he makes others around him a lot better player. He's got one of the best feel for the game guys in the country. I mean, he knows what we should be doing before we should be doing it, and he knows what everyone should be doing. So he kind of the glue that holds the thing together as far as making others better, and when he's there's a correlation. When he's in the game, our plus minus is always pretty significantly better because of the way he makes each guy a better player. And so that, everyone's talking about the 25 points, but it's the way he moves the ball. It's the simple plays he makes. It's the paint touches that he gets. It's the pace that he plays with. That calming pace is what you have to have against a team like A&M. I mean, I watched them the game before. They just, they turned SMU over a ton, and those were all baskets, and they're good at it. Our guys made it look kind of easy on some possession. It's not easy to play against that, and those athletes that, when they come and take the ball from you, they're good at it. And so the pace that he had, the pace that Shave had, the understanding that Tyson had, and Najee and Buzo, especially those 5, to set the tone of the game. And then Jace came in and did a great job with it, and all the guys that played knew their job. So I was just really pleased that we had 2 hard days of practice of getting ready for that, and we took what we did in practice. We probably lost the games in practice, and then we went out and won the game when it counted. And so that's what you want as a coach, is they can absorb what you're doing, because you can have the perfect game plan, but if they can't absorb it and execute it, it doesn't matter. And that's what they did. So I'm really proud of the way the guys responded to that, because they did exactly the things that we needed them to do.
Whether it's as a dad or a coach or both, I mean, you think back to what he's become now. When he entered this program, I mean, right or wrong, some people are like, oh, they just took him because his dad's the coach or he's on the team or whatever. He's dealt with that his whole life. But I mean, you just see his evolution as not just a guy on the team, but going to a contributor to now being like literally one of the main 3 or 4 guys on the entire team. I mean, just to see his evolution, I guess, and what you thought he could be when you decided to bring him into this program. How nice has it been to see it turn out this way?
Well, the first thing when you coach your son is his game and what he can do better than anyone. I've watched him play all his life. So I've watched him every level he's went to. I remember in 8th grade when I said, well, you're probably not a Division I player if you can't compete against these Idaho kids in an 8th grade game. He looked at me and went out and got about 50, and he'd always rise up. He'd just always rise up to the level that he was playing at, and basketball means everything to him. I mean, that's his life, and so I'm absolutely happy and proud of his success, because he just grinded. And you look at this team. There's a lot of guys on this team that have done that. Najee, his first year here, he was a towel waver, and he had to fight through, keep his attitude right, keep his, so those guys are a great example to our young guys that it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, even, some of these super talented, super hyped recruits, college basketball is hard, and it's a war of attrition. You have to just keep going forward, and Max has done that, and it hasn't been easy for him. I mean, I always tell these guys, hey, you're going to get cheated for a long time in college basketball before you get your chances. It's the ones that can hang in there and keep fighting with a great attitude. And that probably happened to Max a lot, where you think, oh, I got to have a more athletic guy out there. I got to have and you did that a lot. So, that's something he went through, but that's not uncommon. Everyone has those challenges if you want to play at a high level in college basketball, if you want to get to become a great player. And some of our young guys are facing that, and it's that ability to show up the next day and keep fighting with a great attitude. How can I help the team? How can I help the team? And that's what you're seeing with the guys that we have on the floor. They've all done that.
I mean, 25 against Texas A&M. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's almost, I didn't even really know until I looked at the stat sheet, and then I went, oh, wow. I knew he was playing well, because I wouldn't take him out in the second half, because he was kind of keeping our tempo right. He was helping with the ball handling against the pressure, and no doubt that is that's a heck of a defensive team, and he went out and got 25 in an SEC game, which is pretty impressive.
What are you seeing from the younger players as you try to build that rotation? How are they competing in practice and trying to get some more opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, they first of all is to make them understand the mindset that I'm not going to give it to them. I'm rooting for them, and but you're not going to get it because somebody feels sorry for you or wants you to play or knows how. Look at it, like I just said, look at it out on the floor, Naj and even Tyson last year. For the month of November, he wasn't playing. He wasn't even really in the rotation. But he had that great attitude, kept showing up to work. And you just never know when that opportunity is going to come. But it's not going to come if you don't control what you can control, which is your attitude and your effort and how you want to help the team. And so to get them to understand that has to come first before, it's not just me wishing I could play him more and, oh, doggone it, I feel sorry for that poor guy. He comes to practice every day, and there's none of that. That's not life. So to teach them of how you have to go earn it and how, you have to persist and keep fighting, and then you can get that. And we've got some great examples of that in our program, lots of them. And so Buzo, all 5 of my starters have that story in one way or the other. And, so it's a great example. But you have to educate these young guys on what it really means to be a great player and what it really means to be able to earn your way into it and and to be a great college player, it's hard.
I know you'll say kind of how you're playing, how you're feeling is more important than like the analytics and rankings and all that stuff. But the net did come out today for the first time. You guys, from Ken Palm, Torvik, all that have risen, I think 35 spots since the beginning of the season. You're in the mid 50s, I think, in pretty much a lot of the computer metrics. Do you think? I know it's all going to change. There's a lot of data still to be put in, but 8 games in, do you feel like you're on the right track or where you want to be?
But it's just there's always going to be flaws in the system. There's flaws in the system, like it's arbitrary where you start.
Yeah.
It really is. And that, okay, we've improved 35. I'm looking at some that are ahead of us that you're like, well, wait a minute, I know their schedule. And I'm not talking about Mountain West teams. I'm just talking about some others that you're like.
One of last year's data still in there.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's just, it's a flawed system that way, because I look that some are ahead of us and go, oh, that's the schedule they've played. No, that's not right. And then you look some that are behind us that I know, like, oh, wait a minute, I've watched that team. I know where they really belong, or where they'll end up maybe. So it's a flawed system in that way. So you do what you can, but we control what we can control. We're right where we need to be right now with opportunities ahead of us. And the great thing about the data that I've looked at so far is Mountain West is coming out smelling like a rose right now. I mean, you got 4 teams ahead of us, I think, right? 4 or 5. And those are great opportunities. That's what we need as a league. That's what we need. And kudos to those guys. They've been taking care of business, and teams in our league are playing good, and they're good teams. The worst is when you know how good those teams are and they're not getting the respect with the data and the number. Right now, we got some teams getting some respect, so that's great.
Half the league's in the top 60, I think. Or
yeah, that is powerful, and Wyoming's had a tough break, losing maybe the best player in the league, and so that's the hard part there, because by the time they get him back, they're going to be a great team, and so their number is going to be far lower than what the team that they really are. So, but on the positive note, yeah, we've got a great number for our league, and there's still more to be done. And so, hopefully we can all keep winning games.